caricou já, ó. Caricou o boi. Deixa essa luz idiota.
Welcome back to the channel where moments that seem mysterious are looked at again through a scientific lens. Right now, we are going to observe and break down what is really happening behind these strange scenes. At first glance, this waterspout in Russia looks like a giant spinning column connecting the sky to the sea. What makes it so striking is that a waterspout forms when warm, humid air meets colder air and begins to rotate rapidly inside a thunderstorm. What do you think is more frightening, its size or the invisible force of the wind spinning inside it? What we are seeing is a beach in Iran turning red after heavy rain. This area contains a large amount of iron-rich minerals. When the rain washes the red soil into the sea, iron oxide mixes with the water and creates this effect. Innersuit is a small village surrounded by the giant icebergs of Greenland. At first glance, everything looks calm and still, but in reality, the ice here is always moving slowly under the influence of temperature, water currents, and gravity. And sometimes just one small crack is enough to create a booming sound across the bay. The scene in Owyhee looks like a tumbleweed storm sweeping across the desert and the road. Tumbleweeds are very light, dry, and easily carried by the wind. When a snowplow creates a long, open path on the road, the wind can gather them together and push them forward like a living stream. In 2019, southern regions of Russia saw enormous locust swarms move across farmland. When heat and drought reduce the food supply, they gather into large groups and move together in search of new food sources. In a similar way, Madagascar also went through one of the worst locust outbreaks in more than 60 years. In reality, snow is not always stable. Temperature, wind, and slope all affect its structure. When the layer underneath becomes weak, the entire mass of snow can collapse and slide downward like a white waterfall. Nature can change the atmosphere in just a few minutes. A crowded beach quickly turned into a chaotic scene when hail began to fall. What state or region are you watching this video from? Share it below and tell us this as well. Has nature, where you live, ever surprised you? Our structure is completely covered in ice and snow, as if it froze solid overnight. This usually happens when strong wind carries moisture or sea spray and keeps driving it into surfaces, while temperatures stay below freezing. At first glance, many people might think Lake Vistonyta has been taken over by spiders, but science shows that this is a temporary population explosion, something that can happen when environmental conditions become unusually favorable. A few miles north of the city of Pune, this place is known for powerful winds that blow almost year-round. What is interesting is that the airflow here can become strong enough to push even water back upward along the cliff. As we watch these strange phenomena together, I would really love to know, are you watching on a television, a phone, or a tablet? Liquid is seeping out of a tree trunk in an African forest after it was cut. There is nothing mysterious about it because a tree is a living organism with an internal water transport system. Some species can store large amounts of sap or water inside the trunk, and when they are damaged, that liquid can escape. It's hard to understand what created these round ice rings, like donuts floating on the bay, but they look absolutely remarkable. It looks almost like a strange ritual surrounding an animal lying motionless. But this is actually a warning behavior in birds when they detect a predator or some nearby danger. At a farm in China, a flock of sheep walked in circles for days. The fact that veterinarians did not find any clear signs of illness made the explanation even harder to pin down.
Head. She was hollering like a scald cat, John. You hear me?
A cruise ship was suddenly swarmed by thousands of birds in the middle of the night. At first glance, it looks like an attack. But the truth is that during nighttime migration, artificial light can confuse their sense of direction and cause repeated collisions.
Oh my God, baby!
If you live in New York State, have you ever visited the eternal flame behind the waterfall at Shale Creek Preserve?
Oh my God. Did they get rid of the pool? Jesus Christ.
An extreme weather event is forming in Fort Lauderdale. When rotating air currents become strong enough and extend down to the ground, they form a tornado. What is worth noting is that Florida often records small tornadoes because warm, humid air from the ocean combines with powerful thunderstorms. This is not a natural phenomenon. It is linked to water pollution containing chemicals or man-made organic substances. When the water is heavily disturbed, those substances form foam and spread across the streets. What makes this strange creature so interesting is that when it is touched, it can stiffen up and look almost like a rock. Does it remind you of anything you have seen before? The scene in Okinawa shows that volcanoes do not only reshape the land, they can also affect the sea and the shoreline. The pieces of lightweight pumice floating on the water are evidence of the enormous energy once released beneath the ground. In hot and dry conditions like those in the Taklamakan Desert, when the wind keeps driving sand through the air, the grains collide and build up electrical charge. If the charge becomes strong enough, human hair can stand on end and produce small popping sounds like electric sparks. This moment shows that massive blocks of ice are not motionless the way we often imagine. Inside them, meltwater pressure and cracks are constantly changing from day to day.
Venga para que vea el Señor de la Misericordia, venga, Señor de la Misericordia. Ay, mira aquí también se ve. Ay, sí. Míralo, aquí se ve, mira, ve. Ay, el otro también se ve. Ay, míralo, ve.
Leave the number 9 in the comments if you also feel this is a message from God.
Ahí no está grabando. Ahí estará grabando.
What we are seeing is part of the destruction left behind by Storm Alex in Europe, where flood waters changed the entire landscape in a very short time.
Putain de merde! Putain!
What stands out here is the almost vertical shape of the cloud. But in reality, this is a sign that the atmosphere is changing strongly along the boundary between air masses. When moist air is pushed upward quickly, it forms a clear wall cloud right in front of us. What we are seeing is the real dynamics of a landslide inside a quarry. Once rock and soil begin to move, friction, gravity, and slope all act together on that massive body of material. When the energy of a lightning strike passes through a tree full of water, the steam expands so fast that it tears the wood structure apart from the inside. This is one example of that. Is this the kind of moment you would share with your friends? At first glance, the flock of birds over New York seems to form a very familiar face. But this may be pareidolia, the tendency of the human brain to recognize familiar images in random patterns. This massive cloud formation looks like giant waves rolling across the sky. It often appears when cool air from a storm pushes downward and collides with the warm, humid air below. These layers of water look like natural patterns spreading across the surface of a river or sea. But behind that beauty is the immense movement of the tide. When the water accelerates, it can create sound and force, like a herd of horses in full motion. What makes Salar de Uyuni so astonishing is not only its enormous size, but also the almost perfect reflection it creates after rain. When water covers the white salt surface, the entire ground turns into the largest natural mirror on Earth. A small asteroid burned across the sky over the Philippines as it entered Earth's atmosphere. Do you think this is real? Many people might think this was staged, but in places with underground water channels, water can move through cracks in the rock. It is the pressure and the geology that create this stream flowing out of stone.
Oh my gosh. That's so funny.
You may not know this, but scallops do not just lie still on the ocean floor. They can swim too. At first glance, this school of fish looks like a living sphere spinning in the ocean. But what makes it so interesting is that this is called a bait ball, when thousands of small fish gather together to protect themselves from predators. In reality, the desert is not just hot. It can also become very cold when the sky is clear, the air is dry, and the wind is weak. This is how pink flamingos dance to attract a mate. It is amazingly graceful. Please leave a like for the beauty of Hengifoss Waterfall. The black liquid flowing through Deir Ez-Zor looks almost like a strange stream cutting across dry land. But what makes it interesting is that this area sits above major natural oil deposits, where oil can seep up to the surface through geological cracks.
MashaAllah, MashaAllah. فجرة فجرتين.
Donax is a type of clam that lives along the edge of the water. It uses a small foot to dig and bury itself. When the waves pull back, it quickly adjusts its position so it does not get swept away. A humpback whale is feeding in the icy waters off eastern Greenland, a moment that feels both majestic and peaceful. That round cloud over the Florida Keys made a lot of people think of a UFO. Amid the steam and the extreme heat, Yellowstone still bursts with vivid color, making the whole place look almost like another planet. Unlike large tornadoes that form from major storms, this kind of phenomenon usually appears on hot, sunny days when the ground heats the air above it. Once the air begins to rotate, it pulls in dust and light debris and forms a visible spinning column. I think that kiss is going to stay in her memory for the rest of her life. What we are looking at is a Nembrotha, a sea slug known for its extremely vivid colors. In the ocean, bright colors are often a warning signal that this creature is not easy to eat. You might think ice would melt instantly the moment it touches lava, but in reality, the extreme heat can make the outer layer of ice vaporize very quickly, creating a temporary layer of steam that separates the ice from the lava.
Смотрите, что делается. Мы на Елабуге. Попёрло.
When temperatures drop, the surface of a lake or any large body of water can form thin sheets of ice and floating pieces of broken ice. Under the force of waves and wind, they can take on a texture that looks like snowy foam along the rocky shore.
Прям вот нога. Вот, наступает. Давай, давай.
И с каждым днем этот поезд увеличивается. Они исчезают, потом опять появляются. И
What we are seeing is thousands of tiny insects appearing densely across the ground, a phenomenon that often surprises people when they see it up close.
почему это они держатся друг за дружкой?
Давай одну последнюю замочим, посмотрим, что с ними.
А первую они не будут знать, куда идти. Нет, больше нет такого. Вообще, это очень оригинально. Я вообще даже не думала, что вот пусинки так ползают друг за дружкой. И что это у них такое? Надо почитать там.
Что за хуйня?
It may look like something difficult to explain, but in reality, this is usually a type of air vortex. If the wind stays light enough and the atmosphere remains stable, The vortex can hold its shape for quite a while before it finally fades away. The sky over Indonesia looks as if it is covered by a giant glowing rainbow spread across the clouds. This may be an iridescent cloud, a phenomenon that happens when sunlight is diffracted through extremely small water droplets or ice crystals inside the cloud. If this moment helped you feel relaxed while watching a like would mean a lot. This is not a cloud. It is the result of a chain of explosions at a fireworks factory in China, where pressure and heat from burning materials quickly created an extremely powerful reaction. What we are looking at is the Jiangyin Yangtze River Bridge, a massive bridge stretching across the Yangtze River with a beauty that makes it feel almost otherworldly.
That's cool. This is actually
a gray whale was spotted like an unexpected visitor in the waters near Greece. If this feels like a channel worth coming back to, I would truly appreciate your subscription. What you are looking at is a vertical column of light stretching downward beneath the sun. It is a rare atmospheric phenomenon that happens when sunlight reflects through millions of tiny ice crystals suspended in cold air near the ground. Science calls this laminar flow, a state in which resistance and speed are balanced enough for a liquid to move in smooth, parallel layers.
Whoa. I don't see it. I'm on the front porch. Okay, look towards
Oh my God.
A glowing object with a very unusual shape appeared in the sky over Menifee, California. But it may simply be the effect of a drone.
No, I don't see it.
What the hell is it?
I'm in the middle of my parcel.
Oh my gosh, dude.
Look east, Mom.
A strange phenomenon was recorded from an airplane window while flying over China. But at high altitudes, sunlight reflecting off clouds, ice, or exhaust can create very unusual images.
شوفوا يا جماعة شلون صار معه. شلون؟ هذا اللي يشفط الشاصي والله على الوعد على الأشياء.
We would be very glad to hear your own experience or thoughts about this phenomenon.
على ما قرأ العدس. ما شاء الله تبارك الله. سبحان الله ما في المطر إلا هنا بس الجزء هذا فقط.
It looks as if there is an invisible line separating the rainy sky from the dry sky. But in reality, small convective clouds sometimes produce rain only within a very narrow area before they disappear. Thousands of bees gather densely in one area of Netivat. This happens when a bee colony leaves its old hive to search for a new home, a process known as swarming. When organic matter breaks down in an environment with little oxygen, it releases methane or other gases that build up beneath the mud. As a result, the water keeps bubbling up through the wetland. This whirlpool looks like a giant funnel opening in the middle of a small river. But what makes it interesting is that it can form when the current meets an obstacle, a deep hole or two streams of water collide.
Оставайся.
The black object captured on the CCTV camera looks like a strange shadow moving around. In reality, it could be an insect dust, a shadow, or a small object flying close to the lens and appearing as an unusual dark shape. This phenomenon is called an ice tsunami. When the frozen surface of a lake or sea breaks apart, the ice sheets can be pushed toward the shore by wind and waves. Two strange streaks of light appeared in the sky over Adagaysk. Phenomena like this are often related to flares exhaust reflecting light or aircraft at high altitude. Thank you for watching all the way to the end of the video. Do not forget to follow and subscribe to the channel so you can keep exploring more strange phenomena with us in the next videos.